The son of John Shakespeare and Mary Arden, he was probably educated at the King Edward VI Grammar School in Stratford, where he learned Latin and a little Greek and read the Roman dramatists. At 18, he married Anne Hathaway, a woman 7 or 8 years his senior. Together they raised 2 daughters, Susanna, who was born in 1583, and Judith, whose twin brother died in boyhood, born in 1585. Little is known about Shakespeare's activities between 1585 and 1592. Robert Greene's A Groatsworth of Wit alludes to him as an actor and playwright. Shakespeare may have taught at school during this period, but it seems more probable that shortly after 1585 he went to London to begin his apprenticeship as an actor. Due to the plague, the London theatres were often closed between June 1592 and April 1594. During that period, Shakespeare probably had some income from his patron, Henry Wriothesley, Earl of Southampton, to whom he dedicated his first 2 poems, Venus and Adonis, 1593, and The Rape of Lucrece, 1594. The former was a long narrative poem depicting the rejection of Venus by Adonis, his death, and the consequent disappearance of beauty from the world. Despite conservative objections to the poem's glorification of sensuality, it was immensely popular and was reprinted 6 times during the 9 years. He is now best known: Julius Caesar, Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, and Antony and Cleopatra. In his final years, Shakespeare turned to the romantic with Cymbeline, A Winter's Tale, and The Tempest. Only 18 of Shakespeare's plays were published separately in quarto editions during his lifetime. A complete collection of his works did not appear until the publication of the first folio in 1623, several years after his death. Nonetheless, his contemporaries recognized Shakespeare's achievements. Francis Mears cited honey-tongued Shakespeare for his plays and poems in 1598, and the Chamberlain's Men rose to become the leading dramatic company in London, installed as members of the royal household in 1603. Sometime after 1612, Shakespeare retired from the stage and returned to his home in Stratford. He drew up his will in January of 1616, which included his famous bequest to his wife of his second-best bed. He died on April 23, 1616, and was buried 2 days later at Stratford Church.